You know, niggas gotta get their priorities together. Got their mind on the wrong things, spending their money in the wrong way.
Trapaholics, real trap shit.
Say you need that car with the rims and a trunk, just like Jim. It's more than life. Yeah.
I'm telling you. Talk to him.
Say you need that LV bag with the belt and the hat.
That's all you got though.
It's more than life. Yeah.
Talk to him. Real.
Say you wanna turn up at the club, like some bottles, impress them girls. It's more than life.
Fucking everybody.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Saints and Appetizers podcast. And who dat? And this evening, we are just started right back, fresh and new, with some main course. So we're with some main course this evening, and I'm talking about it's fresh new season. The 2025 New Orleans Saints. They're hosting the Arizona Cardinals. Sunday, September 7th at 12 Central, 1 p.m. Eastern time at the Caesar Superdome. But before we get too deep into any Saints news and into the injury reports and MVPs, hot takes, and picks and scores and things like that, I need to talk about how coming into the season, we're to the point in the season now that this is going to be the cleanest shaven that you're going to see this face for the next 4 or 5 months, because just what was it, 3-4 months ago, once it actually started getting hot during the summer, this beard was down to here. So that's just kind of something that we do. We grow the beard out and even grow the hair out. May try to get this trimmed up a little bit better to where it maybe got a little bit more nicer looking, and maybe have it to where it looks shaved on the sides and got a mullet going to go along with the beard that's going to be coming in. But yeah, it's beard season. This is beard season for me, even though I think just a couple days ago, National Beard Day was just a couple days ago, which doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. At least if it's an American holiday, you would think that like beard season and National Beard Day would be like in more of a cold month, somewhere in between like December to like January or February or something like that. But yeah, so I'm just letting you guys get a good look at this. It's clean shaven, about as clean shaven. It's already starting to come in, but next couple times around you see me, it's going to just be coming more. All right, so that's the personal stuff, but actually kind of entails with the football season. It's growing the football season. It's getting cold, and trying to keep my face warm and being outside for games and things like that. It all just kind of goes together. But that's enough about me. So a couple things that kind of happened before Sunday that are kind of surprising, and weren't really expecting some of these moves. Were just go over just the main one here, losing special teams ace JT Gray. For some reason, the Saints made like their 53-man roster cut downs and pretty much filled out their practice squad, and looked like they pretty much had their rosters made, and looked like JT Gray was going to make the team, and then looked more like Jake Haener wasn't going to make the team. And then next thing you know, JT Gray's getting cut, and he's gotten his players that he's played with before, or even currently on the Saints. All of them were just blown away. Didn't understand why he was cut, and why Jake Haener was signed in replacement of him. But I think there's some out there that kind of said that from watching JT Gray from like last year, it looked like he maybe towards the end of the season, even though he played in all 17 games, it looked like he was maybe kind of beat up and he's looked a little bit slower in previous years and stuff. So maybe there's some people out there saying that he not as good as he was, or he's starting to become kind of washed. But uh, these great players like JT Gray, who are multiple time Pro Bowlers and are even like all pros. These type of players, you expect them to be Saints for their entire career, but sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. And I'm actually happy it worked out this way, that he got cut and then was able to look for a new team like soon enough. Like I guess getting cut like what, just like a week before the season starts, not ideal, but still being able to start look for a team that should be a playoff contender and maybe a Super Bowl contender. So I would love to see JT Gray, if it's not the Saints doing anything in the playoffs. I would like to see JT Gray. It'd be nice if he won a Super Bowl. And so him signing with the Baltimore Ravens, I imagine that give you as just as good a chance of any team in the NFL currently. Definitely one of the most talented teams. So him going to a super uber talented team, and the Saints haven't made the playoffs the last four, going on four years. That was what, in yeah, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, no. So going on 5 years possibly of not making the playoffs. So he can go with the perennial playoff contender in the Baltimore Ravens. And hopefully, if say he was slowing down a little bit, like some people, maybe some Houdats maybe thought, maybe he can cap his career off with a Super Bowl victory, and Lamar Jackson and all those guys, that all them boys that it just seems like they've just been just compiling talent and talent and talent on rosters, to where it's just like, man, it's just disrespectful. It's just like ridiculous that they haven't won a Super Bowl yet. But anyway, so that's nice to see JT Gray go there and find himself a home, and find himself a home of a contender. But the only thing else before we kind of get into some of this injury report and hot takes and picks and everything is the legend of the game for this home game, the Saints opener, season opener home game, is Teron Armstead. So Teron Armstead didn't, I guess he retired. He didn't re-sign with the Dolphins this offseason, even though he played in 15 games prior. Before the season, he was told that he needed a knee replacement, and then he went on to play in 15 games with the Dolphins last year. So that's pretty wild. So it's nice having Teron Armstead back. I'm interested in if they'll sign him to like a 1 year deal so he can retire a Saint, or how they're going to do that. But it'd be nice to have Teron Stead back in the house, back in the building, would be nice. And talking about a player, Teron Armstead, like talking about like his injuries and him needing like a knee replacement, like that's all due to, like, yeah, he's injury prone, but it's also because he's so willing to play through injury. And so some of those seasons when they were in the playoffs, like how he's literally being like held together like by like duct tape and stuff, but he's still persevered and playing through injuries, and was an elite player, and would have wish he never would have left, honestly. But if he wouldn't have, I guess you maybe wouldn't have ended up with players like Talisi Fuaga and Kelvin Banks Jr., who he speaks highly of. So T-Stat will be back in the house, so we'll have a legend, a real Saints legend. You hear people make that joke quite often about these guys that have maybe been on the Saints team for like one season, or like maybe just like one game, and they're shouting out, calling them Saint legend. But T-Stead, Teron Armstead, is a real Saints legend. So we'll have him in the house for the Arizona Cardinal game, and hopefully hopefully he brings in some good luck, some luck that the Saints haven't had since kind of around the time since he's left. Saints haven't really been any good So he may have made a wise decision in that, but can't say the Dolphins and Tua Tagovailoa were much healthier. They had like maybe 1-2 seasons more that where they were better than the Saints, but they're just injury prone as well. But anyway, so T-Stead will be in the house, but let's get into this game here. The injury report and MVPs and the hot takes. So this is uh, the New Orleans Saints are hosting the Arizona Cardinals, and this is September 7th, Sunday at 12 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Eastern time, and that is the Caesar Superdome. So let's get into the injury report first. So can I get a menu? And so this injury report, it's not nothing should be really too surprising by it. It's not extremely long yet, but it has like two key players on it that really hurts the Saints, and one of them just popped up just like just like Wednesday. Like he pretty much since he's been a Saint, he's not been hurt or injured or had any injury issues until he gets paid. He got paid to where he's getting paid 17 million a year, and then and then and then I guess maybe he doesn't need to play through injury quite as much. But yeah, it seems super on brand and should be normal. You definitely know that you don't have to pinch yourself or try to wake up from a dream or a nightmare, whichever one you would call this. But yeah, so there's some injuries that two key injuries that have really popped up on this uh, report, and one we kind of knew about for a while, but yeah. So the one I'm really talking about that popped up and just kind of came out of nowhere, just popped up, I guess, as some calf tightness on Wednesday, was defensive end Chase Young, like the highest played defensive player, maybe one of the highest paid players on the Saints team now after this offseason, dealing with a calf injury. So he was limited. It popped up with some tightness on Wednesday, and then didn't practice Thursday, didn't practice Friday. And then the way they were talking in interviews after it happened, and then like the day after, that they were acting as if it wasn't anything serious, and Chase Young was just like, no, like it's not gonna keep, it's nothing long term, like acting like it's nothing, like it's not a big deal. And then next thing you know, he's out. So he's out. No, game time status is out for this game. So maybe they mean it's not a big deal or it's nothing serious in regards to they're not going to miss like half the season for it, but they're already missing week one. They're already not going to be able to play in more than 16 regular season games now that you've missed week one. And then the other one, we've got just kind of opposite sides of the field, with these two your big guys, big body guys. You had the defensive end and Chase Young, and then you have tackle slash guard. He was probably anticipated in being your left guard, but toe injury. Trevor Penning dealing with some turf toe. I guess it's not. It's I think it's on his right foot instead of his left foot this time, and it's not as bad as it was like his rookie season when he dislocated it and had to have surgery and was like done for the season. But I guess supposedly with his, it's nothing super serious either. So hopefully it's something that just keeps these guys out like one, may at most like 2 games. But we're talking about Trevor Penning dealing with a toe injury, and he didn't practice. So his injury wasn't really a surprise like Chase Young, who's Chase Young. Since Chase Young got traded here, he's been like pretty much 100% healthy. Like traded here, played out the year that he got traded here, and then played all 17 games last year, and then gets paid a big contract, and then boom, can't even start week one. Uh, so that's frustrating with that. And Trevor Penning, be interesting to see who we see in replacement for him. Is it going to be uh, what is that, Dylan Raduns, or is it going to be uh, Torricelli Simpkins? I imagine it's going to be one of those guys. I kind of want to see the younger guy, honestly, just for the potential. And then really, when seeing Dylan Raduns, uh, when he played in the preseason, he wasn't any good. At least the bit that Torricelli Simpkins played, one, he's a younger player and less experienced, but didn't look quite as bad at times in the preseason as Dylan Radin. So I'd be interested to see who ends up starting in Trevor Penning's position, because I mean you'll just have a rotation with Chase Young. It won't change much besides the rotation. Will get a little deeper, I guess. And then the other ones, the other couple injuries, the one positive here is cornerback Alante Taylor. We were thinking he had groin surgery. He was going to have uh, mesh or have to go have some surgery on his groin with the way a lot of groin injuries usually turn out. Usually ends up being something like that. But out of all those, out of Trevor Penning, Chase Young, Alante Tyler, it's Alante Taylor who ends up being healthy. So his groin, he was limited Wednesday, limited Thursday, but was full Friday, and then had no game status, no designation. So that's great. That's the one positive from this injury report. And then you have also have defensive tackle Christian Boyd. Hand was limited Wednesday, but was full Thursday and Friday. No game status. And then safety Jordan Howding, oblique, was limited all week and is questionable. So, you know, it's not a like a really long injury list. And man, I felt like the Saints had kind of righten the ship a little bit with how they were able to get some decent depth pieces for their offensive line after they had like that wave of injuries to their interior of their offensive line, and even outside, yeah, even your out offensive tackle and Landon Turner too, or was it Landon Young? I always say Landon Turner, even though it's Landon Young. Yeah, yeah. That's an old offensive lineman, uh, similar injury prone offensive lineman that didn't really ever amount to much. Landon Turner, Landon Young, uh, also hurt. So it wasn't just offensive and guards and centers. Your uh, first like second string like first backup offensive tackle was out as well. So I thought they had kind of rightened the ship with that, and then it looked like really your only key starter coming into the regular season was you're going to be missing was going to be Trevor Penning. But then just like I said, just what Wednesday, just like 4 days before the regular season day opening of the regular season, he's hurt with something, which is supposedly not supposed to be serious. But I guess we'll have to just wait and see. All right, then. Now then, on to the Arizona Cardinals, and their injury report list is kind of similar, I guess, because it does have a starter on there, but it doesn't have two starters, and it doesn't have a starter on defense really that they're gonna have to replace or cover up for a week or two. But the Arizona Cardinals injury report, you had offense. This is the starting offensive lineman Will Hernandez. Knee was limited all week, but ended up being listed as out for this game. And then you have another offensive lineman, John Gaines. The second thumb was full all week, has no game status. And then defensive lineman Dante Steele's heel uh, wasn't on the injury report Wednesday, didn't practice Thursday and then was limited Friday and is questionable. And then you have linebacker Owen Papo, Papapo, uh, quadricep, wasn't on the injury report Wednesday and then was limited Thursday and Friday and is listed as questionable. And then defensive lineman, about one of the few defensive players and defensive linemen that are actually than older than Cam Jordan, still playing, defensive lineman Calais Campbell, not injury related, and he wasn't on the injury report Wednesday or Thursday, but didn't practice Friday, and then isn't on the injury report for Sunday's game. So Calais Campbell, one of the older players. I think Cam Jordan was drafted in 2011. Calais Campbell was drafted in the 2010 draft. So wild to see him still playing. So that's your injury report. Other than the two to really just get upset about, I mean, I think Trevor Penning is obviously easier to replace than probably your best pass rusher and Chase Young, like Trevor Penning. I wouldn't say that Torricelli Simpkins and Dylan Radins aren't that far off from being just as good of a player or similar type of player. But Chase Young, like after Cam Jordan, who's kind of pretty much washed, and Carl Granderson, there isn't a lot of options after that. And Philippe Fidel Diggs is on the practice squad, and he was kind of a defensive star during the preseason. I would kind of like to see him. He's on the practice squad, so I'd like to see him activated to the roster for this game, if obviously because Chase Young is going to miss this game. But that's the injury report. So let's move on to MVPs and hot takes and picks and game scores here. So kind of I already mentioned his name just because that's probably who the starters will be now. Will probably be Carl Granderson and Cam Jordan. I'm not anticipating a revival game from Cam Jordan because he's probably going to get more snaps than he would have before if Chase Young was going to start. But Carl Granderson, he was probably always going to be the starter across from Chase Young. But I'm going to need Chase Young to be, or not Chase Young, I'm going to need Carl Granderson to be the MVP for this game. So that's who I'm picking to be the MVP for this game. More just because it needs to, like he needs to get a sack, or he needs to get a strip sack, or needs to get a couple tackles for loss, or do at least please like a decent job of like containing the scrambling and the running quarterback of Kyler Murray, because the Saints just historically since the last couple of years of Sean Payton, and then obviously the last bit of Dennis Allen, the Saints have just it's been hell for them to be able to stop any type of scrambling, rushing type of quarterback. So I need Carl Granderson to have a breakout game, an MVP quality type of game. Like I said, need to have him get a sack, a sack or a strip sack or an interception, a couple TFLs. So need Carl Granderson. Need you with Chase Young out. I need Carl Granderson to show out. All right. Now then, on hot takes. These are kind of crazy. These kind of fall like they're hot takes. That's the whole reason they're hot takes. It's because they are a little crazy. They're a little spicy. But I just kind of mentioned the scrambling quarterback in Kyler Murray. I'm going to actually go out on a limb, and this doesn't necessarily mean that this is going to be a positive. This doesn't necessarily mean that the Saints are going to win, but Spencer Rattler is going to have more rushing yards than Kyler Murray. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to win, because that means that the standard running game of the Cardinals or the passing game of the Cardinals with Marvin Harrison Jr. and Trey McBride may be eating the Saints up to where they don't need to run the ball, or that Kyler Murray doesn't need to scramble. But I'm gonna go with that hot take. So Rattler to have more rushing yards than Murray, and then we just mentioned Marvin Harrison Jr. and we all feel a little uneasy with how Kool-Aid McKinstry kind of didn't look real great in the third preseason game against the Denver Broncos and Cortland Sutton. But I'm going to pick out Kool-Aid McKinstry in this game. I'm singling him out in this game to keep Marvin Harrison under 80 yards receiving. So those are my two hot takes, an offense and a defensive hot take. So Spencer Rattler more rushing yards than Murray and Kyler Murray, and Kool-Aid McKinstry keep Marvin Harrison Jr. under 80 yards receiving. Even if he has that would still be a pretty good game if he had like 78 yards receiving and a touchdown. Let's hope we can maybe even keep him even less than that. All right. Now then, on to the prediction, the score, the pick and the score for this game. So I feel that this game is going to be kind of similar to the Eagles Cowboys game that we had for opening night. To where the Cowboys look like they're maybe actually in control of this game for almost the first three quarters of the game, and then they might even get an opportunity to have a shot to take the lead at the end of the game, or maybe even tie. My score may have it to where it's like they're going to need a touchdown or nothing, kind of like how the Cowboys had two shots at the end of the game to try to go get a touchdown to take the lead back. But I feel like this game's going to be similar to that. I don't think the Saints offense is going to be a juggernaut, but I also don't think their defense is going to be absolutely terrible where they're allowing like 35 plus points in this game against the Cardinals. Even though the Cardinals, they have weapons, they have Kyler Murray, they got Trey McBride, they got Marvin Harrison Jr., they have a good running game. So it's very possible that they could put up a big score on the Saints or run all over them. Very possible, but I think the Saints are going to be a little more of a surprise to people. Probably not a surprise to where now people think the Cowboys are going to make the playoffs or possibly even win the NFC East. But I think the Saints are going to be able to keep this game at least respectable. The Saints aren't going to come out and get embarrassed, absolutely embarrassed in Kellen Moore's first game as the starting head coach. But I'm still picking the Cardinals in this game. I'm going to pick them until the Saints can prove to me otherwise, and until Spencer Rattler, if he continues to be the starter, he can prove to me that he can win a game. And same with Kellen Moore, he can prove that as a head coach he can win a game. I'm going to probably be having to pick against the Saints for a little while this season. But hopefully it comes to an end sooner than we think. But yeah, I'm going to pick the Cardinals to win this. I'm going to pick them the same score as the Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles last night. I'm picking the Cardinals to win 24-20. And like I said, the Saints may actually even have the ball at the end of this game. But I just don't think with Spencer Rattler or Tyler Shuck, whoever it is, with the final drive of the game, a 2-minute drive at the end of the game, try to get a touchdown to take the lead. I just don't. I don't think they're ready yet. But I think it's going to be similar to that, and I think it's going to be more of an enjoyment to watch than what a lot of people think that thinks it's going to be like a 30-0 blowout or something like that, because we still haven't gotten to see Alvin Kamara. I hope Alvin Kamara has a good game, and hope we get a good combination, like a 1-2 punch out of him and Kendra Miller that we always wanted when we first drafted Kendra Miller, and then for the first time we get to see Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed healthy. So, we didn't really get to see the full bore offense, all the offensive weapons or all the offensive line playing together for extended series. So maybe it'll be better. I hope it'll be better than what people are expecting. I'm not expecting an absolute blowout, but I also don't think the Cardinals are like a great team either. They have better weapons, obviously, in Marvin Harrison Jr. and Trey McBride for those positions. But uh, just as an overall team, I don't think they're like that much better than the Saints. But uh, even though coming into this game, I think they're what 6.5, maybe even 7 point favorites, and that's the biggest road home dog uh, this weekend. For the Saints are the biggest underdog. But anyways, I think the Saints they just gotta come out in this game, and main thing is if they can run the ball and not turn it over and not run into sacks. Spencer Rattler basically being a sack merchant, then I think the Saints should be able to keep this close. But if they're not able to run the ball and they turn it over a couple times, then I could see where this will get out of hand, and we may end up getting the 30-0 score that a lot of people are screaming and talking about how the Saints are the worst team in the league. Uh, Not even on the same stratosphere as some of these teams when they have them like where are they in their right in the league, like where do they rank, like in the leagues, like what level are they on? Like the Saints are like NA, not even applicable. But I don't think the Saints are that bad. But anyways, I think that's about all I have for you. So who dat, and can I get a check please?